Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's reverse AMA, something totally different. We're really excited about it. And let me just bring Luke up here. Okay, cool. Super excited for this. It's going to be really fun. So basically, we're asking you the questions. We want to know what ideas you have, what you like, what you want to see more of. Maybe you have some totally crazy idea that we've never even thought of. We want to hear it. We want to know your thoughts on that. So this one's not a traditional AMA where you guys get to ask us questions as much, if you get the vibe. So yeah, please keep it farmer friendly as always, and please come up on stage and chat with us, have a discussion. We want to hear all of your thoughts. And this is Heidi, so I will be monitoring our Discord a little bit as well, so we can see any opinions you have on there. And I'm gonna kick it off because I cheated a little bit. I've been very active in Discord today, and I asked in our general chat, what questions should I ask you guys, which is totally cheating. And the only response I got was, ask us how many hours of sleep we get because of pixels. So it's a good one to kick it off on. Yeah, I hope you guys are sleeping. It's important. Please sleep. Good for your mental health. All right, Luke, you there?
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, so the reason why we're doing this is we've been running these actually with like a group of people in our Discord, the farmhands, and it's been one of the most valuable things that we've been doing over the past like month or two essentially. We realized that instead of guessing all the things that we should be building or using our best intuition, we could actually directly ask you guys questions on what our plans are, what you guys think, and get your feedback on what we're building. And it's so much more effective. Essentially, we can remove the guesswork and get direct access to people like you guys who are playing our game, who like what we're building. And yeah, we kind of wanted to open up what we're doing with the farmhands to the larger community as well. So this is an opportunity for you guys to kind of give us more information on how we're doing, and also we can kind of ask and dig into questions on, your guys' thoughts and opinions on what we're doing too. It's super valuable to us. So essentially here, what we're trying to do at Pixels, and we said this, a year ago, we said, this is your guys' game. We're just the ones building it, essentially. So, and that's kind of the ethos of Web3, right? So, yeah, we would love to start to dig into it. Like, please, we'll start to ask some questions. Like, raise your hands. We'll bring you up. And then also, you can bring it back at us too. But I guess some of the things that we can start to go over are like, yeah, we would love to get your guys' thoughts and sentiment on like where the game is at now. And I would love to hear some of your guys' opinions on like what you guys think, we might need in addition, like, how the game is feeling, how it's playing, if you guys have any thoughts of improvements. And then we can also start to get into like a bit of the roadmap, and we would love to ask you guys questions on what you guys think about what we're planning in terms of the pixel token, the platform. We talked about pets a bit too. So yeah, I would love to have somebody just raise their hand, and if you guys have any input on, how the game is going now, any thoughts on, what you think the game should look like, or, any questions like that, then feel free to come up.
Of course, Lolito, an actual farmer. Love hearing what he has to say. What's up, Lolito?
Hey, hello to everybody.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Everything good? So this is AMA is very special for me because this is the sweet spot for me. This is the reason I follow this project because it's very intriguing for me to build stuff together and keep telling ideas and how we can do stuff. And also it's very democratic and community building. This is exactly what the reason I am here. So what I like to see in pixels, and what I'll ask you guys, is about owners' tools, because I really believe that owners can be perfect hosts for doing stuff and engaging people and coming to our lands and rewarding also people. So the next thing that I would really love to see in the game would be stuff like that, that maybe some statistics that we can reward people that work on our lands, maybe some tools that we can make some mini games or some fun games around our lands, and stuff like that. So that's my question for the day.
Yeah, we've actually been
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about things like that a lot internally. Luke, do you want to take it off there?
So yeah, I will say one of the things we were planning around like pixel distribution was around these kinds of statistics. So things like getting more people on your land, that's something that benefits the whole ecosystem, right? And that's something that we actually want to be rewarding the token for. When we're thinking about pixel distribution, we're thinking about, okay, like how can we reward healthy in-game behavior that grows the ecosystem as a whole and puts all of us in a better position. So yeah, those are definitely the kinds of things that we're looking at. And I'm curious on what you guys think about this too. And I would love some of your guys' thoughts on this. Like that is kind of a difference in how we're thinking about pixel generation, where we don't think about the pixel generation or how we've been planning our tokenomics as straight up like, well, even play to earn is not like, you know, the popular term or like what we want to be talking about, but we don't even think about it as like directly tied to in-game stuff. It's like we like the idea of, battle passes where, you do a couple of in-game actions each day and you um, get rewards through that. Things like logging in each day, completing certain tasks, or doing things like this, like sharing your land with people, all of that too. So yeah, I would love to get some feedback from you guys on what you guys think about a system like that rather than like directly getting a token for any game action that you do. Kind of like a more incentivized or gamified system that benefits the ecosystem as a whole.
Hmm. Hmm. Perfect. But I mean, communicating through the game is something that is really interesting for me, and I wanna see the game develop through this direction. I mean, building communities and in the game tools that will help us communicate more and have fun more. This is crucial for the project, I think. And that's all from me.
Yeah. So how would you guys rate the importance of something like we've been talking about this a bit, like spatial video chat and spatial audio? That's something that's on our backlog, which we think we should be adding eventually. But it's like where do we prioritize it versus other things like these new mechanics that we're thinking about adding, or getting the pixel token ready. Really curious in your guys' thoughts on that as well.
I think that anything that can give us more abilities to do stuff will be great. I mean, if we give us that kind of tools, we can maybe watch a video together or make some mini chat or party together. These tools will be amazing and great to have, I think. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
Yeah, so there's sort of like there's a few directions we can go, right? We can go more into building out mechanics specifically for, the Pixels Farmland game that we've been building. We can go more into the social layer, so we can be going into like, okay, do we try to compete with like attention from Discord, from, other social platforms, or we can go more in the direction of platform. So do we, enable
Yeah,
you guys to
exactly.
build out better content? And I'm curious what you
Hmm.
guys think on that as well. And,
I
if you're up
think
on the stage, feel free to talk.
I think that in-game should be beneficial for the game and also make a different aspect of the game because economics is one part of it, balancing is one part of it, but communicating is a second aspect that is very vital.
Mhm. So one area I think we're somewhat underinvested in the product is also around guilds. I know they've naturally appeared in the game, and it always makes sense to like pool resources together. So there's a reason for guilds for that. But yeah, I'm curious if anybody had any thoughts on what we could be doing with guilds. If there's anything more, if you guys like seeing them in the game, or if you think we should find more ways to support that. And if we did do that, what your guys' thoughts on that would look like. And again, feel free to come up and speak because we really, really want some diverse feedback. And it could just be yeah, the whole point of this AMA is to really have, as many people as possible to come on here so we can get feedback from you guys and we can kind of listen. Because we could do a normal AMA where we just talk and give all of our ideas, but the valuable part about this is hearing from you. So feel free to come up and speak. It can be really casual. Even just keep a microphone on. And if you feel like having a idea blurred out, that's totally fine.
I have a couple of questions actually.
Mhm.
I'm curious where you guys heard of Pixels. We've been around for a year now, and things have changed drastically over the year. And so I'm actually really curious to hear, like, did you hear about it during our play to mint or play to airdrop, or were you referred by like a friend, or all of that? It's always so interesting to hear about these connections that kind of organically were created. So I'm super curious about that. If any of you guys want to let us know. And yeah, if you are a little shy to come up, I am looking at the general chat on Discord. If you just want to like throw some answers in there and I can read them out.
Yeah, we'll be looking there.
Um, I started when it was we had to farm to get our whitelist
Oh my
initially.
gosh. An
Yeah,
OG
so
over here.
I got a golden rake. I was top 100. I was definitely invested into it. I loved it. Um,
Nice.
definitely improved tremendously from back then. I'm sure you guys know all the issues there was that were occurring. Um, with people standing on the plots and you
Oh my
guys
gosh.
putting fences around it and people still getting through. I was there for the whole
Oh my
thing.
gosh, I'm triggered by that. And then we added the two little plots in the corner. Did you read
Yeah.
the we posted a year in review, like a little throwback to all the milestones? Did you read that on Twitter?
No, I didn't see it
Oh
yet.
my gosh. For someone like you, it'd be worth going through because you'll be like, oh my gosh, I remember this and this. That's really cool. Thanks for sticking around with us.
Yeah, but I have a question. To get more
Mhm.
engagement, would you guys ever consider creating items into NFTs, like any of the berries, a rake, for instance, like anything in the game that could be purchased via Matic, like on the Polygon network or ETH? Because like I know me, like I would for sure buy energy just because I don't like waiting. Would you guys ever consider doing something like that? That way, there's another like form of ecosystem where people can buy and trade and grind even more to get that.
Yep, so that's on so technically on the back end, all these items are NFTs and they're in your custodial wallets. What we haven't allowed right now
Okay.
is we haven't allowed withdraw and deposit to a hot wallet. So we're working on a system right now where essentially you'll be able to, move any asset that you have in your, custodial wallet to a hot wallet, and then you'll be able to, actually interact with it and actually be able to, put it on the marketplace like OpenSea or anything else like that too. Like you'll actually totally own it and be able to do that. It's funny because, there's this meme right now that's going around where people like will respond to like some random thing and say Web3 solves this, um, or the blockchain solves this, but the trading and marketplace thing, blockchain actually solves this. Where if we allow you to get your NFTs into your own wallets, then there's so many built out marketplace solutions already where you guys will be able to kind of put that in and see what the liquidity looks like. Cool thing is even with this one-to-one trading is I'm pretty optimistic about the liquidity for these in-game items. It looks like they're getting traded around a good amount, even with how e-liquid we made these systems, where you literally have to be in the game, going on Discord, things like that. The less friction that we add to this, we're pretty excited about, what that's going to look like when it's actually live and like a true economy.
Awesome.
Can I ask something about that? Since these are the game mechanics, can the pixel game used can be used as a utility, as an exchange, for example?
Sorry, can you repeat that? You mean like an exchange in game?
No, I mean like a exchange, like a token
Oh,
exchange, or
sorry. Yeah.
like something a more fun way to do business, something like that. Something like an extra utility in game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've thrown around this idea of having like a in-game marketplace, and I think we might do something like that in the future. I think it's a little bit more complex. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Like an NFT marketplace, exactly. That would be awesome
yeah,
too.
Well, we'll see. We've been talking a lot about that, or maybe like we have an auction house, right? And so we talked about doing some sort of like maybe auctions, maybe Dutch auctions. Like there's lots of different ways we can go with that. But we hear you guys. I know this has been a topic thrown around for quite a while now. Um,
Yeah, with the trading stuff, probably the roadmap on it looks like we are going to allow withdraw and deposit of these NFTs into your hot wallets. You'll be able to put them on other marketplaces, since they're NFTs, ERC 721s, and then we might think about doing it in game. What's nice about the blockchain stuff though is we kind of get that for free if we allow you to own these NFTs in your hot wallets. So that's kind of the priority in what we're working on right now. Um, that's complex. It's even more complex than the ERC 20 sync, because you have to think about like, okay, how does it affect in-game inventory, things like that. But yeah, we're starting work on that now, so it's exciting. And that probably we want to go live relatively soon with that. We need this to get done so we can get some of the other stuff that we want to get done. It seems like yeah, it looks like the Discord is popping too, and there's plenty of stuff that we can pull from there in terms of feedback from questions and stuff.
yeah,
Looks
Jack
like
Oatville. It's so funny saying these names out loud for the first time. He said he discovered pixels from Olympio. I remember, and then he said, I remember Luke saying or talking about collaborating with KOL in the past AMA, and I think that might be beneficial for pixels to get a broader public. So yeah, we haven't done any KOL marketing so far, and for those of you that aren't familiar, basically like influencer marketing. It's something that we'll probably dive into a bit in the future. It's really interesting. We get a lot of feedback from the community on when marketing, and we really push marketing when we're ready for it, but also it's not not in a traditional sense either. I think the term marketing, well, first of all, I hate it, but we don't need to get into that. But
I think okay, when people say when marketing, like I think the people that are asking for that are when floor price increase.
possibly, but I also think that there's like
I
this misconstrued idea of what marketing really is. And we've taken a very like different
Exactly.
modern approach to it. We've really utilized the features in Web3, and so that's why we always joke like, oh, we only spent several $1,000s in marketing, and that's because we kind of did things differently, and it paid off. It went really well. But if you guys have like ideas for marketing, we would love to hear them. Like anything crazy. I mean, we gave away a tractor. What's crazier than that?
Yeah, and for one thing too, like us not spending money in marketing, that is a very to get the growth that we've done is extremely unique in this space. Projects of our like similar follower count, Discord size, DAU, all of that, they've spent like hundreds of thousands to like even potentially like millions in customer acquisition that we've been able to pour directly into game development instead. So that's been our focus. We really think, hey, marketing is actually one of our strong points because we can do it for so cheaply because we know how to generate interest and we know how to get users into a gaming ecosystem. So then the idea is we get to pour more money into making a better game, which we think will attract more users in the long term. So yeah, what are some other questions that we could
Okay, I have
ask?
a good one. I've got a good one. One of our farm hands
Mhm.
suggested I ask this. He said, ask the community if they want industries to go vertical or horizontal. So
Oh yeah,
that's
that's
a
a great
really,
thing. I can
yeah.
explain this one.
Explain kind of what he means by that.
Yeah, so with industries in the game right now, we kind of have two options. And this is the kind of feedback we love to get from you guys. We could go the horizontal direction where we could start to introduce a lot more industries, like, completely new ones, and introduce new resources and create like more of a complex web of these different interlocking resources. Or we could go vertically. So one idea the team had too was, okay, doing something like adding levels to your industry and making the progression on a particular industry like a mine. Um, more engaging and things like that. So, are there more resources that you could get from different levels on the mine? Are there more things that you could get going that way? So essentially, kind of making the industries that we have more, more nuanced, adding like a bit more game theory into them, or going more horizontal.
And please request to come up. I've also asked on Discord as well, but come up and chat with us. We're dead serious here. We want to hear what you have to say and what you think.
Yeah. So pay the permaban in our Discord chat. He's just said, hey, we just want more things to do.
I said, tell us what
Shake.
things.
Yeah, so this is exactly what we're trying to get feedback on. Like what are some other things that we could be doing? Like what are some, interesting ideas that you guys might have? Like we we want to get direct feedback from you. And if you guys have ideas, what you have hopefully seen at this point is we actually make them happen. Um, oh, this is a good thing. Pay to Permaban just in the Discord said, stop changing the recipes, stop nerfing everything good into the ground. Um, you know, the feedback does not have like we want the feedback to be real like this. So that Pay to Permaman is saying, hey, he wants us to stop changing recipes. He wants us to stop nerfing stuff in the game. This is the conversation we had internally on the team the other day, where we made some changes to balance because we actually released something that was balanced in the way that we didn't think was right. But that actually had effects on the economy. So it's like we realized after getting this feedback from you guys is that we probably need to be much more rigid in the way that we change content and the way that we change balance because this has macroeconomic effects every single time that we make a change on something like the amount of energy that honey gives you, for example. That was one thing that we changed, and it made some people upset, and it totally makes sense why, because it changes the expected value of the apiary, it changes the expected output. So these are things that we're realizing when we're getting feedback from you guys of like, okay, this is something we absolutely need, where we need to, one, probably run changes by community members. Two, like much more rigid processes and when we update content. So maybe we say, hey, these are the changes coming. This happens in 1 week. So yeah, we would love some feedback on like processes around that. And it looks like we're getting a lot of stuff in the Discord. So here's one thing that Carol or Kyrule said. Like Kyrule suggested, hey, we should make a vote for the community if this potential update is good or not. And that's something that we do like we could potentially use something like snapshot.api or snapshot dot what is it, something like that, where we could do voting from farmland owners and things like that. Pay the Slugger is suggesting that we open up more community testing.
Can
Handbag
we
Pop
have
Off is just suggesting. Mm-hmm.
polls in the Discord of
Things like polls. Yeah, so that's something we looked into too. I think personally, I think that polls in Discord are probably the easiest thing for us to implement quickly, and that's something we can do. So like we were even having a meeting on today of like, okay, what if we started, gathering change logs before we release? That way, you guys have transparent views into the changes they're about to make. Potentially even having some element of getting community sentiment through something like a poll. Yeah, it sounds like overall.
we used to have Kani that was amazing for that purpose. But I mean, now that we are more in the gaming phase, I think that would be might a good idea to reconsider using it. No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Canny was really good. That is something we could potentially bring back as well. Okay, here Pike is here. This is an interesting thing too, and like a lot of debates that we've been talking on the team. And I would love to start to dig into this topic because this is a tricky one. So Pike has said if the crafting powder cost 10 berry, like cooking mix, woodwork would still be doable. Now instead of an industry, it's an expensive hobby. So this is touching on a point that we definitely want feedback on. There's this interesting balance of trying to burn as much berry as possible to kind of even out the economy that way, because we do want the economy to be healthy, not because we're making money off of it, because we think having a healthy economy makes for a much better game experience for all of you guys. So when we think about this kind of stuff, that's literally the intention behind it. It's not for us to be greedy. We literally just want people to have a good game experience, and we want to control economy health for that reason. But then two, like there is this balance of making sure that players have a good experience, that they don't need to buy in or pay a lot of money to enjoy the game while still burning berry. Because it is this tricky thing where berry has a dollar amount to it, and people can shortcut, game progression through getting more berry. So I'm curious on your guys' thoughts on how we balance that best. What we've kind of been thinking is figuring out a way to, make sure that most of the important in-game items are achievable through realistic gameplay. So, really thinking about how long does it take you to get a certain, industry? How long does it take you to get something like storage in terms of like time in game? And is that like a reasonable thing? Versus also thinking about, okay, what are some bigger ways that we can sync Barry besides just cosmetics or other things like that as well? So it's a really delicate balance. I'm curious on your guys' thoughts. So if any of you have some thoughts or feedback on that, feel free to come up and speak. And we're also looking at Discord.
Hey, it's Natron. I just
Hey,
wanted to chime in and kind of include the marketing aspect as well. Um, like as a web developer, I've always believed that content. I mean, I'm sure we've all heard it. Content is king, and in my opinion, in a economy like this game, I think it's really important to have as many different aspects to the game as possible. Like I want to refer to Ready Player One. It's, if you've ever seen the movie, there's just so much to do in the metaverse when you're there that you almost never want to leave. So I think that including as many mini games and all sorts of different aspects, because there's many different types of people playing the game who have different wants and needs. So I think as much content, as much different aspects to the game as possible that can be brought in, that would help retain and bring in and onboard new players. And at the same time, if you're also incentivizing players to bring in more players, then that alone can be an ultimate marketing technique of sorts. So like I said, content and incentivization is, in my opinion, very, very key.
Yeah, totally. Everything you said, I feel like I've heard everything you said out of Tyler's mouth as well. It's retention. It's huge for us. We talked about that a lot. And content, it really is king. Like someone in our general chat was just complaining like, oh, I just want more things to do because they've I don't know, gone hard and exhausted everything. And we don't want that, but we also need to make it welcome, like a welcoming game for new players. So it's just like interesting balance and exactly what you said, like a metaverse that you don't want to leave. Also, I'm going to
yeah,
say it. Shout out Natron has created an incredible website with tons of information, pixelsdata.xyz, right? That's the right URL. So thank you
Yeah,
for that.
pixels data.
Shout out to that.
Thanks,
That's incredible. And we really appreciate
appreciate it.
like all of the hard work that all of you guys put into any content creation. It blows our mind and we are so, so grateful for it. So thank you.
yeah. So yeah, Lynx had some comment. He said, I feel like the cost of industries have gone up to offset the botting. Now only bots can afford them. So yeah, there is this tricky balance. I would love to again dig just a bit more into that because it's like this mix of we don't want the game to be pay to win, we don't want the game to embody those, but we do want to burn. So what we're kind of thinking is like how can we figure out like ways to create incentive structures to burn tokens for even better things. Like for example, what we're thinking of with the pets update that we're going to be doing is having that be a significant berry sink, so you can still work through the industries, but the people who do have a lot of berry who want to kind of get a head start on things like pets or things like the next things that we do, like that's what we'll maybe use the berry for. So keeping some progression realistic for people, and then doing all of that. So we have a few comments that just popped up in the Discord, which are good. So Pike has said, not everyone buys berries from bots to burn. Pay the permaban says bots don't burn. That's the problem, and you're making pointless burn.
Oh, you cut out. I don't know. Is it just me?
All right, hey,
Okay, you're back.
yeah. So if somebody calls you during a Twitter space, it mutes you, which is
How
annoying.
rude.
Yeah. So yeah, bots are a problem right now. We agree. They're generating a lot of berry, and that's why we're working on the Pixels VIP solution. So that's what we think might actually add a barrier to botting. So one thing that we're really working on is really addressing that. I think to me, when I'm thinking about the next steps of the game, in order to get the next stages ready, this is the first problem that we need to address first and foremost. That's why we're kind of moving towards this Pixel VIP solution earlier. What Pixels VIP really is it's a limit on trading for free users. So we want to keep that trading limit realistic and reasonable so that most free users wouldn't hit it. But then we want to create, an economic incentive if you're trading at a higher limit to um, open up more unlimited trading essentially. So what this actually does is one, if bots are really creating a lot of accounts, it's going to make it very expensive for them to create many accounts where it's not as feasible. And it just doesn't make as much sense for them. And then two, if these bots still choose to purchase Pixels VIP and still choose the bot, then it gives us time where we can actually still catch them, and then they become, still in the red essentially. So if we make Pixels VIP cost like, the equivalent of like a week or two of in-game time, in terms of like the berry price or what you could generate from berry, then if we catch these bots within a week or two of them, um, coming alive, then those bots would actually have lost money. So if we can create this economic incentive, this is kind of what we're thinking of doing that, then we're in a good spot. So we have a few comments on that I'll go into. So yeah, people are speculating on the price of Pixels VIP. Yeah, the idea is we don't want to make Pixels VIP something crazy, but also, yeah, I would love to get some feedback on the Pixels VIP stuff too. Like, we do think we can make it something that's kind of cool and compelling, and it's actually going to play into the larger tokenomics as well. So we might price it up higher later, because we think that it'll actually be quite compelling in the long-term future. If we do things like give you discounts on if we ever do a breeding system on the cost of breeding, there actually might be a quite good incentive to do that. So, oh, and then here's one thing too. So with the Pixels VIP thing, what we're thinking also is like the trading limit and the trading ban also applies to withdraw and deposit. So this is a way to also kind of retroactively make sure that berry generated by bots doesn't go into the ecosystem or like the open economy when we introduce, berry onto something like a DEX, or if we are ever to provide liquidity for it. So this is also something that we can do to kind of curb excess berry generation that's been happening the last like 1 to 2 months. So essentially bots, won't get this.
Do you want to keep asking questions about this sort of stuff, or can we hop to another topic?
Let's see. So Pixels VIP Pass will make it harder to play. No, we don't want Pixels VIP Pass to make it harder to play. So yeah, there's this delicate balance, right? Where we want to make it achievable, and we also don't want to make it necessary. We really just want it to harm bots. And then, we also want to offer like, interesting incentives too. Like, what we were thinking is also, okay, if you get it, then unlimited trading, like that's the first priority. But also potentially things like an extra bookmark, and then other, interesting things that we can do in the future too, if that is something that's interesting to you guys and kind of makes sense. Okay, yeah, did you have any other questions, Heidi?
I do. I want to know pets. We've hinted at it. We've talked about it a little bit. We haven't revealed anything that we've designed for it or are thinking about designing for it. So it's a very open-based topic. I want to hear all of your ideas, all of your crazy thoughts, whatever imagination you have for what this could possibly look like.
Yeah, and
So,
also just general thoughts on it too. Like,
yeah.
maybe you're like, why are you guys doing pets?
Yeah, but like get creative. Like I want to hear all of it. Anyone that's here already? Cholo Savage.
Oh,
Terry.
hello.
Hey.
Hey, nice to speak
I'll
to
let
you.
Terry speak go first.
Sure.
Okay, so I have one question regarding secondary industries like woodworking benches and kilns and windmills. Currently, they provide zero value to farm owner. Will that change any day?
Yeah, we've been debating that. I'm curious in your guys' thoughts on that too. Like, I think some of our game designers were kind of thinking that, um, like potentially having like a woodworking bench is like a draw that like have people visit your farm because there's not that many in game. Well, there are a lot in game, but not everybody will have one. Some people prioritize like getting mines and stuff on their farms, versus kilns. So yeah, there's potentially an incentive as like a draw to do that, but is that compelling enough? I'm curious in your guys' thoughts and like just overall what you guys think.
I was thinking the reward could come in a form of XP, like you see XP candy in Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, someone uses your kilns or windmills and you get XP in that industry.
Yeah, so that is one feature that we have on the backlog. Essentially, I actually think it's working on the back end. I need to confirm that, but you guys actually might have been leveling up map skills this entire time. So that's an interesting thing that we can play with. I'm pretty sure we've been storing that XP for at least a few of them. And that's probably something that we might be launching soon. So that could be compelling, where it's like, okay, if people are using your kiln, you level up this specific, level on your map, on your farmland.
I want to comment on Heidi's question about pets. I really just want a pet banshee that I can ride. But I think pets is like a very good idea. It gives a completely different aspect to the game. And even if, I mean, you include that in like some battle mechanics, having, you know, groom your pets to be better at battle and battling against others, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, just to own a pet is cool in itself. But I think giving also more utility to the pets is important too.
Yeah, so why we're doing pets is we do think that we need another mechanic in a game. We do think the game is missing like a compelling reason to be using all these resources. So we want the pets to kind of be that reason, and create like interesting gameplay around that. So some feedback that we would love from you guys also is like there's a couple directions we could take them. We are right now where we're at in the design process of the pets. We have a lot designed around like the initial stages, but then it's like long term of the pets. What could they do? So we're debating like how we'll probably roll out pets, just to give you guys full transparency, is we'll probably do like the beginning stages of, okay, you have this pet, you're growing it, you're hatching it, and then you can take care of it and like increase some certain stats on it. But then, and that will probably roll out. We have it planned pretty aggressively. Like we think we can get that kind of stuff in around the mint time of the pets. Like when you actually mint the pet, like all that will actually be live in game. That's so far the plan. But then it's like, okay, next stages. What direction do we take it? Do we take it in like Pokemon style battling, Magic the Gather styling battling? Do we take it in a different direction, like racing? Yeah, curious in your guys' thoughts because we have most of the base systems of this planned. Now we're thinking about like long term, like, okay, what are the activities we do? Should we focus on one, go really, really hard on it, you guys think, or should we go a bit wider too? Like think about lower touch ways, like, you know, Pegasus style racing or Pegasus style racing plus this. Like the horse racing side of things is low effort. But yeah, curious in your guys' thoughts on that and um, what we should be doing with that. But yeah,
Okay, wait.
pets. Mhm.
Sorry, someone just had a great idea in general chat. Links. It would be cool if different pets ate different crops. So that would raise demand for other crops. Like only this specific pet can only eat, I don't know, grumpkins. So you have to feed it grumpkins. Like I kind of like that. That's cool.
I actually absolutely love that.
Yeah, I love that.
And then Pika said pets are for petting.
Yeah, that's also a great one. You like maybe that restores your energy, like petting your pet, taking care of it. Although honestly, IRL, it's the opposite. But this is this is different.
Yeah, and then Dakai Long also suggested some like of the Pokemon style level
Mhm.
improvements. Like I love the EV IV stuff in Pokemon. What we're thinking about with that is kind of doing a mixture of like, okay, you mint the pet with these base stats, but then also can improve them in certain ways. Okay, Ross and Cholo Savage have stuff. Why don't you guys speak?
Yeah. So one idea. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess make sure that first. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick right now. So, one idea I had around pets too, like if there's more, if sabotage comes into the game more so, like if you have a pet on your land, it could help defend against sabotage or things like that. So there's different functions of like different pets. I don't know like what other pets could do, but maybe like I don't know, some pet helps with farming, like making things go quicker or things like that. But I
Yeah.
think that could be cool.
Yeah, I love Hypixel. Hypixel has a lot of stuff like that where it's like it's a lot about like min-maxing a farm and getting like more efficient stuff on a farm, and different, I think they call them minions and stuff. There is something like that too. And then yeah, that's what we're debating too, like going more of like the Clash of Clans style of play, where you have like most of the gameplay related to the land, or what we're thinking about too is moving the pets in more of a direction of like, okay, these pets are used across all of the like Pixels ecosystem, so any platform game that's built on the platform, so it's not just tied to your land, but there also it could be both too, of like having this pet on your land does this, and then there's also gameplay that's relevant to anybody that's on the Pixels ecosystem.
Totally. And then one other pet idea.
Mhm.
So, like having a legacy collection of pets, because in like hopefully the grand scheme of the game, there'll be a bunch more people, and then you could obviously sell those pets later as well. Like, could be one cool thing. Um, so, yeah.
Interesting. Cholo Savage.
Hey everybody. Um, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
What's
Okay.
up?
I really like the idea kind of using different crops and stuff for like the pets. I think that was really, really good. But also kind of like make the pets give you certain pets give you a XP boost or even regenerate a little bit more of energy with their different types. I think that would kind of bring a new dynamic to like the game and also like into the marketplace. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea. It's kind of okay. So Pixels Trader on here also said there should be 4 types of pets: earth, wind, air, water, fire, with special abilities, rare traits, rare items.
Yeah, if you notice, we have 4 obelisks also.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh. I would just like to say that this is not alpha. We're all
we're designing the whole mint process right now, so that's like one of the parts that's holding up the white paper to really get this right. This is like a whole new mechanic that we're adding in. So this is part of like what we're finalizing before we release Pixel white paper details, and then all the facilitation around TGE, and then also just transparently, guys, this is also the reason why like the claim might be like a month later. So we want the pets to be active day one, but then we're gonna start to introduce all the pixel claiming and all that pretty soon. So we're excited about that timeline. But this is to us, this is huge. Like this mechanic will be, pretty needle moving in terms of like playability, in terms of like game experience, and in terms of like what we actually are going to be offering in the future and interest in the token and all of that too. We think this makes the token much more sustainable.
Definitely. And I also kind of had a question around
Mhm.
something you said, Luke, a little bit earlier when you said kind of like woodworking is kind of going off base of going off from an industry and more to like an expensive hobby. Would that kind of been like anything that would be considered kind of like an expensive hobby in terms of like a blueprint? Would that be counted as towards an industry? Because if it's like kind of an expensive hobby, why would it like kind of just hurt my land if I want to put like 2 or 3 workbenches up there if it kind of has no industry value?
Yeah. So hobby, no, but you're right. I think if we do that and go that direction, you're likely right. We probably need to give more. Well, we do need to give more reason to use those levels. So that's also what we're thinking about the pets of like, do we require one? There'll probably be a new industry for pets, is what we're thinking, in order to hatch them, in order to make them better. So we're going to tie pets into farmland. That's really important early on for the growing and training of these pets. And then two, we're thinking about ways that we could start to use these industries and the resources that you're creating for this loop as well.
Oh, okay.
Hikus doesn't like the animals fighting. Our game designers didn't like the animals fighting either. I was the one that was kind of pushing for that. But then, our game designers were like, well, what if we just did something a bit more friendly, like racing or other ways too?
Oh, I
There's
like, yeah,
ways.
me. I agree.
Yeah, there are ways that we can get like creative and not be so original in terms of like Pokemon Web3 or Axie 2, things like that. So yeah, we're trying to get a bit more creative, but we do know that we want to start to introduce this, get this to be a part of the game, and then brainstorm these ways that we can actually get involved long term. This will probably be like a part of the pixel generation as well in the long term.
Well, someone posted a very unique idea that I love, and that is you can use the pet poop as fertilizer. That's great. I love it. And then Chase, actually, he said, is it possible to have pets' traits change on OpenSea so that as you level them up, it's visible on OpenSea?
Yeah, so this is feedback I want from you guys on how on-chain or off-chain this should be. It's funny, the debate, right? Like if you want metadata to change, it normally needs to be kind of off-chain. And if it's changing metadata, like how it normally typically works is it's an API that goes to IPFS. So really you're still going through an off-chain layer to actually make it like on-chain data. What I'm thinking of is like I would love to have base stats be, not on-chain, but like on IPFS of a pet, and then have a separate layer of like stuff that we store off-chain. There might be a way that we could do leveling on-chain. We had been talking about it a long time ago, and like, okay, you actually might be able to create a read-only wallet and send XP to a read-only wallet through like a token. That would be very technical. There's potentially a way to get leveling on chain. Do you guys even care? What if we did like a mix of, on chain and off chain where it's like base stats of these pets are, on IPFS, and then things like additional experience and leveling are through our own databases. Really curious on what you guys think about that. And if anybody even cares if it's on chain or off chain.
Come on, guys, any thoughts?
So my take is people care less about this than, originally people in Web3 would like to say. Like the on-chain and the off-chain stuff is interesting. Like when I first came into the space, I had a really idealistic view of, oh, everything needs to be on-chain, every game action needs to be on-chain. And what we have found is that we don't think people care as much as like the Web3 maxis early on really were saying they did. What people do care about are the incentive structures, the economics, the ownership. But some of this stuff being on chain and off chain, we've seen isn't really a huge issue. So what we're thinking, and it sounds like nobody hates this, is keep base stats of like the initial mint stuff on chain IPFS, and then off chain for like leveling, so that we can still like have your NFTs update, have your NFTs grow, all of that kind of stuff. I think that's really compelling and pretty fun to have that associated with the NFT. Yeah, Chase said that he thinks that some things need to be on and off chain. Things like metadata changes should be a little bit of both. And that's kind of what we were planning. Essentially, what we'll probably do is we'll probably have an aggregator. Like we'll probably have an API that combines IPFS data and our off-chain data for the metadata for the NFT.
Yeah, and someone said, I really don't care whether it's on or off chain. Whatever works more smoothly is what matters. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good comment. Pay the slugger. There seems to be a bit of disconnect when new updates come out and how it affects players, new players or old players. I understand that you guys are focusing on battling bots, but it seems like that's the first focus when things are rolling out. A lot of things can be caught and fixed before rolling out if we let players test things out or even have discussions around the new updates to see what could work or not. We spend so many hours here we could definitely chime into how updates affect games and players. So yeah, that was something that we had touched up on a bit earlier, and I totally agree with you. Like when we saw what happened this last week with this update that we introduced, or like this hotfix that we did, I kind of realized that's a dangerous territory that we're running into, where we shouldn't just be updating things randomly or like unexpectedly. We really should be prepping this a bit sooner, getting feedback from you, and then making it much more expected, essentially, because we understand how changes like this can affect you guys and the econ. So for us, I think that is something that we want to start to get a formal process around. And this might take a couple weeks to get running for us, but this is something that I am probably going to try to prioritize internally for the team of saying, hey, like let's get a formal process around how we actually implement changes into this game. One, getting feedback from you guys, maybe going more DAO like, maybe we keep this to farmhands, or maybe we open this up to polls, or like we kind of figure out, hey, this is an update that should go out to just like the most active players versus the like general community as a whole. So that's something that we'll be messing around with. And if you guys have ideas on this, feel free, please chat them or give us this feedback, because this is the exact kind of thing that we're talking about. Like this is the stuff we want feedback on.
I'm interested to hear feedback for this exact situation where we've discovered something that is potentially economy breaking. Like what would be an ideal process there? Because the one that we're referring to, the honey this week, was a pretty big deal for balance in game, and so that's why we pushed the fix so quickly. But we also completely understand why you'd be upset by that. So it's like this really fine balance of timing, and giving more warning and all of that. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Okay. Last Dragon in the off-chain, the on-chain stuff, he said he would love to see the characters be all on-chain, but then some other people were giving some mixed feedback on that.
Mm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, so first off, thank you for bringing me on. I love your game. You guys are doing a great job. One thing I wanted to mention in regards to on-chain versus off-chain, I think there's many projects out there that have like the character itself on chain, and I know that like I personally would like to see, if you're going to bring pets into the game, if you're going to have the characters in the game, like I would love to see those as NFTs that are on the chain. We've seen it with Castaways, that where they're doing it as well, but they have like a skin that's the NFT. The land obviously is very similar to kind of like what you guys are doing, but I know that the character itself also allows you to kind of gate who's in and who's not in. So it allows you to potentially combat the bots a little bit. But I know that you also deal with, if you do that gate, you also could potentially deal with people not wanting to come in because it's not easy to onboard. So I know that there's a pros and cons there, but that's just my thought on it.
Yeah. So the mint or like the pets will definitely be an NFT, probably on ETH rather than in our ecosystem also. Not probably, like 99% on ETH. And then there's like the further debate that I was kind of digging about, like the actual metadata. Like some people are like really pure about this, and then some people don't care. Most people don't care. So yeah, that's a tricky thing. It's where it's like the image, keep it on IFPS, like some of the base stats on IPFS, but then yeah, potentially stats somewhere else. Um, yeah, Pay to Slugger really wants to test with an NDA. So that
Yeah,
is
that's he's
interesting.
talking about a conversation we had earlier. They've been begging basically for more community involvement in testing, which I don't think we're against. We'll just have to figure out like who and when and how.
Yeah, the
So
reason why that's tricky is it's just a lot of organization on our end, where our QA people, they test at a certain time frame. It would just add a lot of overhead to getting stuff out to like open up the QA process in the way that we do. What I think is the easiest way for us to get feedback from you guys is pre-releasing patch notes and doing polls on patch notes and different updates like that. Like I know that if we want to start implementing a formal process to get feedback from you guys, if you want to do it like next week, like that's something we probably start next week. Like if we wanted to get like early access people in the QA pipeline, stuff like that. It would take some time, but it's something that it's like, oh, if this is compelling enough, we're open to it.
Would
Oh
it
my
be
goodness.
beneficial to have some sort of DAO involved where you invest your berry to be a part of the testing and actual like more than a poll, actually physically getting to test it, but enable to do that, you have to invest some sort of your resources or whatnot.
Don't hate that. I do like that. Yeah,
Because you
that
were
might
talking
be.
about like burning berry and whatnot, so that might contribute to being able to have a mechanism for burning.
Yeah, I hate staking. That actually might be a reason to stake the pixel token or pets or like something else too. Like staking has some interesting use cases for things like that and liquidity, but mostly like I think things like this or like FWB. I love FWB. If you guys know that DAO, I'm a part of it where you have to hold like a certain number of the tokens in order to get certain access to things. That's potentially an interesting system in the long term of that, and that's pretty good utility. So how I also like to think about this stuff too is just to give some reassurance to farm owners is anytime we add a feature like that where like VIP or like something like, oh, you need this amount of tokens to access this thing, we're also automatically going to give farmland owners like that kind of stuff 99% of the time. So any of this like new ecosystem benefit that we're thinking about, like we're also thinking about applying it to farmland owners.
Okay, Dom. The general chat has been the general chat has been begging to hear Dom and see if he's a real person. So, how's it going, Dom?
Hi, everybody. Hi, general chat. I am real. I exist. This is my Twitter. Hello, everybody. And I just wanted to ask, has the auction house idea been discussed yet in this AMA?
Oh no, wait, did you guys I kind of teased that the other day. I would love feedback on this. So we want to get in-game auctions into the game. How we're going to be doing it most likely is we're probably going to have them outside of the game when we do them on, like a third party or not third party, it'll be our own, like a white labeled auction solution essentially. That's one of those things where it doesn't make sense for us to build it because there's so many Web3 auction solutions out there, so many Web3 NFT minting solutions out there. It's like, why waste our development resources building that? We'll probably just white label it. But before we get that in, Tyler thought of this. We thought of some clever ways that could be kind of fun to do it, where like we actually literally hold an auction with in-game chat in the auction house. Like we have somebody stand behind the auction counter and just like do a bid. So yeah, I'm curious on your guys' thoughts on that.
Personally, I love the idea. I think auction houses go a long way, and I think it gives more opportunity to the players. And however it's done, if we can make it unique for Pixels and maybe apply our own touch to it, it'd make it that much more special.
Yeah. Okay, here's some alpha. Do you guys know Oh, I can't believe this is still in the game. Well, I can believe it. So you guys know the billboard on top of the plot store that has the Gridcraft sign on it right now? I was thinking that we auction off that billboard with Barry. So whoever we could probably do that this week as something fun, maybe on Friday or yeah, I already leaked the billboard alpha before. But I think that could be a fun thing to do. Maybe we can plan it for Friday where we do an auction where you get to design that billboard and have it up for like a week or two or something like that. That could be pretty fun. And that could be like a good, test of like if this auction stuff works.
Do you mean like the Gridcraft coming soon sign?
Yeah. What if you guys got
Okay,
to design
it's not
that?
there anymore.
It's not? Well, we could really easily add a
No.
billboard back.
Yeah. So people can like advertise or something? Or?
I know that I personally would. I know that I personally would pay to have a billboard on my land too, that I could design and put stuff on to get information to people coming and visiting me.
Ooh. Okay, so that is one maybe other subject I want to touch on is like the platform side of things and what we're doing with that. So, we're thinking about expanding and opening up our tooling and infrastructure to, not just other projects, but potentially users as well. And that'll be kind of outlined in our
Okay, you cut out
white
when you were
paper.
saying what it was. Can you say that again?
Yeah. So we were kind of outlining like what the platform is going to be. So we've kind of opened up some of our tooling to other teams, and we've been experimenting with that. What I also want us to push for, and I think is a pretty interesting sync for the Pixel token in the long term, is opening up some of our infrastructure to end users like you guys. So things like the item builder, where you guys could actually upload your own pixel art. Um, we'll have to figure out moderation and stuff around that. We don't want a bunch of penises all over pixels. But
I feel like we could
Unfortunately,
use
speaking from
Sandbox
experience.
as an example of that, where they've got the marketplace that's sitting right there, that anybody can upgrade it, but you guys can moderate before it actually hits the marketplace.
yeah, exactly. So we'll likely do something like that. Roblox does something kind of similar too. So yeah, we're gonna experiment with that too. So I think if we're going in that direction, that's probably what we'll do. We'll use like Pixel as a sync where you can create in-game items. What I also really liked the idea of is um, moving the or allowing people to create in-game stores also selling their items, which I think that's something we could probably open up in like the medium term, not short term, but like medium term as utility for Pixel as well. Create an in-game store, allow users to purchase in-game items with like one of the currencies that we have supported. So that would be either Pixel, Berry, it'll be New Cybers token, like whatever other token we support as well too. Like you'd be able to choose which currency you want that item to be used for, and then like there might be like a profit share
Did you cut
between
out?
us and you. Did I?
Oh man, what is going on with your mic today?
Am I cutting out?
Okay.
Hello?
Well, just to change topic, someone said it'd be fun.
I hear you just fine.
You hear me? Okay, cool, but not Luke, right?
No? You guys don't, you can't hear me?
Okay, well.
We can hear Luke.
I'm
We can
hearing
hear
Luke.
Luke.
You can
We
hear
you just
Luke?
fine.
Yeah, I think it's you, Heidi.
What is going on?
It's you, Heidi. Everyone's saying it. I'm not the problem. Okay, well, yeah, so what we were thinking is like allowing you guys to also do in-game stores, kind of like the Roblox model there, where it's like, okay, you guys can upload pixel art, create your own in-game stores, and then potentially like a profit share, um, where you guys actually take some of the revenue from the stores that you create as well with these in-game items. So yeah, that's interesting stuff, right? I'm curious in you guys' thoughts on, investing more into that platform side of things. I like the idea of it because one, it like, allows you guys to create in-game content. You guys can probably create stuff that's cooler than what we would think of a lot of the times even. And then, yeah, we could potentially make that even more expandable. Like iterations of that would likely be like the first iteration would be something like just straight up decorations and that's it. They don't do anything besides just look and sit pretty. But potentially, it could get more nuanced where it's like, oh, you can push this thing or this is like a pressure plate. Like we might start to build out more entities like that in the long term. So there's directions that could go to. I'm curious on what your guys' thoughts are on that. Last Dragon would pay for this in Pixel for sure.
I would, for sure. Like, I think that's a fantastic idea, and I would love to see it again. Since I've been so exposed through YGG, I would be way more interested in like whatever that stand was to be like an NFT that unlocked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pay for it in Pixel or Berry, whatever you want to pay for it in. I'm
Nice.
a little different. I know some people don't care about the NFT thing, but I like the NFT collection aspect of it as well. As I'm, because to me, I see it as an investment, not just a game. Even though I'm a gamer at heart, I want to know that hey, I have a shop in Pixel, and I bought the shop in Pixel, so I can have 12 slots or I can have 15 slots. And the fact that you can build your own stuff, very, very, very much so. I would be interested in that.
Nice. So what's cool about our tech stack is yes, anything that you create with our tooling is an NFT. And it's all no code, able to do that and be able to use it in the game. So I think it actually is pretty unique tech there. But then yeah, so tree, I make planks. I actually love that. Tree, I make planks. They've determined themselves as a woodcutter for life, and all they do is they make planks in game. I think they have a really high woodcutting level. She just asked, can I make harvesting machines? So yeah, when we're thinking about our tooling and expanding on our tooling, like we're thinking about like lower touch first. So the stuff that will come easiest are things like just the decoration builder rather than more nuanced things. And that it's interesting because the resource generators are an interesting thing with the economics too. We're even debating this when we're talking about with like New Cyber and like Gridcraft and like other projects they'll be onboarding. But essentially, what we're thinking is like a slow rollout of all of the tooling that we built for like building our own game and for building other games to be more user facing. But that's probably like over the course of like 6 months to a year to make that actually happen and like reasonable and all that too. But like long term, we think of that as like interesting pixel utility. Elephantium is really, really pushing for an improved bag pack, syncing Barry with hardcore players. Kyril really just wants eggs, 2 eggs. And then Picus is suggesting that you have to sing karaoke if you want to get new in-game items. Okay, sweet. So if there's any other things that you guys want to talk about a bit, storage is coming, guys, I promise. And we actually didn't make storage too expensive. The storage thing is interesting, right? Because storage is something that you guys all really, really want in game right now. The interesting thing is when we open up the withdraw and deposit of your NFTs to your hot wallets, storage in game becomes a bit different. We could. This sounds weird to like if we wanted to make storage as valuable in the long term as it is right now in game. What we would have to do is we would have to limit the amount of NFTs that you're willing to or able to withdraw in game to the amount of storage that you have. And to me, that just seems like a really weird mechanic. That is something that we could do, but like, yeah, long term storage, like we can't even stop it unless we do something like that. And I could see that being pretty unpopular, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Do you guys think we should limit withdrawals of your NFTs that you own? Probably not. No. No. Yeah, so if we didn't do that, then storage in like realistically like 2 months is a bit different. But yeah, we're releasing storage soon. Our goal for this one was to make it not considered pay to win by you guys. We wanted to make it achievable in a realistic amount of gameplay time. Okay, sweet. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for coming here. Thanks, guys, so much for this reverse AMA. I really liked this format. I know some of you guys are a bit shy, but I think the combination of the Discord and doing this Twitter space was really interesting. And honestly, to me, this is more fun of an AMA where it's like we get to ask you guys questions. We get to like spill some alpha too. It's more interactive. We might try to do this kind of style a bit more rather than just like the long thing too. The recap's gonna be tough, but yeah, there was a lot covered here. Yeah, do you have one more thing, Terry?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about what do you think the goal is in the game for casual player without land? Because, for example, to landowners, our goal it seems to be to build new industry as fast as possible, and then I don't know to level up maybe. It doesn't feel like we have some kind of goal or improvement when we level up our skills. Do you think it's a possibility that in the future we will have better tools that we can upgrade, better buildings, maybe skills give you faster, I don't know, like less chops per tree or something like that?
Yeah. So Terry, if you guys couldn't hear him, he just asked a question about okay, like what's the point of playing if you're a free player essentially? Like what's the progression for them? He suggested maybe adding new tools that make chopping trees quicker and things like that too. So yes, I totally agree. The people who don't own land, there's not enough for them to do right now. What we thought would be really compelling is the decoration aspect of your lands. So one thing that we're doing immediately is, I think this is coming out quite soon. I think we just finished it in terms of development. Now we're QAing it. Is we made changes to the Infinite Portal, and those are coming out. So the yeah, your free land will now be able to be seen by other players. If I'm correct, correct me if I'm wrong. Way mentioned something in chat, but I'm pretty sure we added discoverability of free land in this Infinite Portal update. And if not, that's kind of the idea too. We want to make sure that you guys have compelling reasons to have people actually decorate land and make more sense. So yeah, that's one short-term thing that we're going to be doing, and then that's also why we're putting some emphasis on pets too. We think that's like a more playable and replayable gameplay loop than just this decoration loop too, and we think it's going to be more engaging in the long term. Okay, yes, Wade just confirmed. Yeah, we're making the specs discoverable now, so there's actually a chance like people can come visit your farms if you have a free land. You can show them off a bit more. We do think that this will kind of make that more compelling in itself. You'll be able to show off your progress a lot better to other people. Brag if you have some of the rare items, things like that. And then, yeah, the pets thing, that's what we're really interested in too. We think that's going to be a more fun and engaging game loop for people who don't own land. Okay, sweet. Well, with that, I think we're going to wrap things up now. Again, this is a super fun AMA format. I think we'll start to do this a bit more. I like the two-directional or the bi-directional AMA style. Having you guys come in, give us feedback, that's amazing. This is honestly super valuable. I think hopefully some people in our team are taking notes. Otherwise, I'll listen through this again after and just go through all your comments and feedbacks. We'll look through Discord. And yeah, all the stuff you guys, gave feedback on and told us today, like we listen. We actually do listen, I promise. And we're able to make changes based on the stuff that you guys suggest. So super valuable for this whole team. I made sure team members were here listening also. And we're going to take some of this and run with it. So thanks so much, guys, for joining us. Thanks for being here. And I hope you all have a good week. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. There's tons of exciting stuff coming up on our end. The whole team's motivated, energized, and ready to go. I hope you guys are feeling excited too after listening to this. So we'll give you guys more and more updates on what's coming next. White papers, all of that stuff too. So thanks, guys, so much, and see you guys next time.